Can't hear you. You're on mute, Ashima.
It's better now. Okay. A very warm welcome, everyone. Laja presents TATVA Pravya 2021. Life begins at 60. Wow. It feels so very good to be back with you all, beautiful, gorgeous souls listening to us again. Life indeed begins at 60. Now, why did Laja come up with this topic? We came up with this topic because we have witnessed how during the pandemic, while almost everyone was complaining about the lack of social interaction in life, our senior citizens, the backbones, were learning new skills, starting new ventures, running marathons, and truly living it up. To celebrate that spirit and that positive attitude, we at Lajja decided to have a tatva to honor our senior citizens, and that's where it came into the picture. Tatva Pravya 2021, life indeed begins at 60. To few of you who don't know about Lajja, just a quick overview. Lajja is India's first forum for women, a forum for women, by women, with women. It solely focuses on the overall and holistic development of women, both as an individual and as a professional. We firmly believe that a woman is a central nucleus to a wide network of individuals and relationships. Only when this nucleus is strong and healthy will this universe work in harmony. Hence, Laja conducts daily discussions, workshops, seminars, and conclaves throughout the year focused on effectively maintaining a work-life balance and developing a woman to understand her strengths. Tatva is one such point in the entire picture. And to kickstart Tatva 2021, we have a first Salon event happening today. We have an esteemed guest, Binda Kanayalkar ma'am, who will be talking about mental health awareness and wellness among senior citizens. Just a quick overview about Binda ma'am. An HR generalist by profession, she has more than 33 years of experience, out of which 24 years is in the human resources domain. She has been associated with many educational institutions as the senior faculty member. A certified NLP practitioner, emotional intelligence coach, she uses all this knowledge and skills during her session. What's more, she's also a certified yoga practitioner and therapist and has conducted several wellness programs. We are so very glad to have you amongst us today, Binda ma'am. A warm welcome from Team Lajja to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. And I must say that I'm honored to be part of this platform, this session, and more so because this is the session we are kicking off this whole week's event and the special event for senior citizens. As
Absolutely.
You mentioned in the introduction, Ashima, I'm working very closely with senior citizens. So life definitely begins at 60. I can say that again.
Awesome, Binda ma'am. Now all over to you, and we would really want to hear your about what you have been doing, what exactly you're here to talk about, and learn from your enriching experience. The stage is all yours.
Thank you. So, like we said, that was the thumb line is life begins at 60. And I also will take it from where Ashima mentioned that during the lockdown, most of us actually must have gone through this kind of a phase where some of us must have felt lonely, socially disconnected. And that was the time when people wanted to reach out to senior citizens, or we call them older adults, where they were trying to stay cocoon because of the lockdown and social distancing. The people who got more hit were people above 60. And we had nowhere to go because some of us are living in nuclear families, our children are overseas, or they are not living in the same family. So it would be just the individual or the spouse and partner. And then what to do? Not everybody is digitally, digital skills are not very easily available at that age, and most of us are coming from a background where professionally we were not so tech savvy. And today everything is related to your digital skills. You're sitting at home, your Android phone. So we could see a lot of this category reached out to different avenues and platforms which were offering workshops and programs for senior citizens. I would like to take it from here, and I want to share with all of you that we all have one life. So why not make the most of this life? We need to live the life to the fullest. So when we say life begins at 60, it should actually be soaked with all the awesome memories that we have dealt with in all these years of our life. Some of us may be 60, 65, 70, or even those of you who are here at 50 or less than 50, one day we are going to reach there. Aging is imperative. As we get older, there is a lot of wear and tear that happens. And along with this wear and tear, it does affect us physically and mentally. It's a vicious circle, or I would rather say it is interrelated. Your mental health and physical health go hand in hand. When we talk about this, it's very important that we should start looking at the areas where we can improve. When I say improve, it is not that we are into a state where we have not been good in our health, or maybe mental health or relationships or anything. But as we talk about loneliness or maybe isolation as we are getting older, that comes first, that creeps in faster. It starts from the time when we are actually getting, those of us who have been into professional life, when we are approaching our retirement age, when we know 5 years down the line, 4 years down the line, or maybe from tomorrow I will be without a job. And then I have to sit at home after having worked for 40 years, 35 years. What is going to be my daily routine? And that thought starts eating you. This also happens when we as parents, some of us, we live in a joint family, our children grow together with us, and once they are married, they leave. So it is the empty nest kind of a feeling also. That adds to our anxiety, our fears. And what is this? It's the fear of unknown. We start imagining things which are not real. And these actually lead to a lot of anxiety, anxious moments. And this is something like, because they are not real, one thought leads to another thought. And this becomes a chain. This was happening to many people during the lockdown. And we could hear, I'm sure most of you also may have heard about your known people, someone from the family, extended family, or even from neighbors and friend circles, that they went into depression, the stress levels went high, panic attacks, and the kind of thing. Because to add to all that, it's not only our life, we also think about our children, we think about our parents, we think about our near and dear ones, and we add on to our worries, their worries as well. And this just becomes a cyclical thing. And slowly, without realizing, this becomes a major cause for our ill health, or rather mental health, I should say. Mental health, in many years ago, it used to be, I don't hesitate in saying that there was a time when the mental health word would be treated as a taboo, because it was, associated with, okay, psychiatrist. So I am perfectly okay. People don't want to accept that there is something not all right with the person. We would rather say that if you are living in a family where you have your spouse around, you have other people in the house, and if you observe, even if it's not your family, if it's your friends or neighbors or a colleague, if you start observing some behavior or some pattern which is not the normal pattern that you were observing about that particular person, it's time to start thinking why he or she is behaving the way it is, which is different from their original self. That could be the time to start reaching out for help. You could be one of the friend or the family member to talk to the person. And this kind of people don't like to be talked to. They like to be sitting by themselves. They like to isolate themselves from other people around. So after 60, it could be the epitome of life's wisdom, or just permanently the grumpy attitude that you can sit with. After all, it's our choice. The choice is totally ours. I decide to make the choice. So when I say aging is imperative, nobody has, you can't eliminate that from your life. As we get older, and physical wear and tear, there is also the mental health, which needs attention. And more often than not, we are unaware of these problems and neglect them till they are becoming very serious. A lot of ailments that some of us suffer today are of psychosomatic. We talk about diabetes, we talk about blood pressure, hypertension, even cancer for that matter. It's all about psychosomatic diseases, because they all are formed in the mind first and then they are percolated down. So when we talk about these lifestyle diseases, lead to most of the diseases, and it is physical as well as mental. If we try to handle them at the initial stages, it can become so much easier. Life can become so much easier, because if you look at, we talk about spondylitis, we talk about lower back problem, we talk about the IBS syndromes, we talk about colitis. All these things are related to our mental thinking, the thought process that we are going through. So mental health is as important as physical health. It should not be passed off as unimportant. Mental illness is preventable if understood well. And the thing is for us to understand, do I need support? Do I need to go and talk to somebody? We don't have to run to the doctors every time. There are people who are called counselors. Again, in the good old days, counselor word was, we wanted to run away from counselors because I don't need counseling. I'm perfectly fine. But counseling could be just, if I'm not feeling well today, if there is a death in the family, if you're suddenly, you've lost your job, you go through a lot of mental stress. And that's the time also you need to talk to someone who could be a good friend of yours, who could be one of the family members, or you can term them as a counselor. It's nice to go and talk to someone. That is the first stage. If we avoid doing that and we just sit and brood with whatever is happening to us, then there could be a stage where you might need an intervention of a therapist. Therapist is someone who, of course, will do the counseling also. In addition to that, they will help you out with certain exercises for your, the thought process, changing the thought process, or helping you with some yoga and other things, and mental and physical exercises. If that also doesn't work, because if there are things which has gone beyond that control, then there is the psychiatric treatment that starts. So then there is a psychotherapist. First, there is only a counselor or therapist, then there could be a psychotherapist. Until then, it's also still okay. But if it's out of your hands, then you need to go to a psychiatrist, where then they are only taking a resort to the medication. And medication, as all of you know, no offense meant, but medication, all of us know, has their side effects also. And any medication to do with neurology problem are very strong, and they do definitely have side effects. So we definitely can avoid all these things. Don't you think so? So how do you deal with these situations? As I said, mental illness or mental health is in our own hand. We can prevent this, and prevention is better than cure. Let's look at it, how we can handle it ourselves. The very first step is to recognize that something is not all right with the person I'm dealing with. or an individual who have been interacting with me often. Because we know how the person used to be bubbly and cheerful and wanting to talk about anything and everything under the sun. And suddenly, if the person is becoming aloof and wanting to be left by himself or herself, wants to sit in one corner, we see that these are the kind of people, they are in denial mode. They're not willing to accept that things are not the same with that person. We have the habit of putting on a mask. I am sure you will agree with me. We like to show that outer mask to people around us. I want to make people happy when I meet people. I want to show the best side of me when I'm interacting with people. But my inner self, it's only I who know what am I going through inside. So the first thing we have to do is just accept yourself the way you are. The outer mask is what we show to people around us, but there's so much bottled up inside which we don't want to show people. And it doesn't happen to everyone. I'm not generalizing this, but what I'm trying to say is when we are at 60 and beyond, we start thinking of so much of negative thoughts keep coming to our mind. The self-talk that we do, most of the time, you like it or you don't like it, it's the negative self-talk that we do. Anything that doesn't happen the way we wanted it to happen, again, we look at the not so pleasant kind of things. So, we are all the time coming back to the negative thoughts which we are feeding the bad wolf in our mind. And when we go on continuously feeding the bad wolf, what is going to happen? Your subconscious mind is all the time going to tell you, no, Binda, this is not what you're doing. You can't do this. You should not be doing this. So it's always the subconscious mind which is popping up and stopping you from doing what you are doing. So what are the things we can do to handle the kind of situation which are causing more strain and hassle? Figure out where these thoughts are coming from. There is stress that these thoughts bring. So look at them. Maybe you might want to sit down. If there are dominant thoughts that are worrying you most of the time, you can sit down and write them down and see what is the cause, what is the trigger point of that, and see how you can handle that. Consider what you can control. I always say control the controllable. I can control my behavior. I can control my reaction, my approach, my attitude, but I cannot control somebody else's, the way that somebody else is talking to me, the way somebody else is treating to me. So control the controllable and work on that. Try to do what you love. We always, and especially when I'm talking to this platform, to the women, because I always say the women have been people who keep their astitva, yeah, identity at the back. हमारे लिए everybody else is the priority. It is our employer, our father, mother, children, spouse, in-laws, everybody come first and we put ourselves at the backstage. And then today we come to a stage when we look back and think, what did I do for myself? I never put myself as priority. I'm not saying that you have to put yourself as priority. It's not being selfish, but yes, you need to love yourself also. That is very important. Unless you are feeling well within yourself, how can you be feeling well for people around you? So it's very important that you need to love yourself and do what you love also. Managing your time well. Time management is something we all struggle to do. We all have only 24 hours, but some people can get the jobs done beautifully and some of us keep struggling. And a lot of stress comes to us because we are not organized, because we cannot manage our time well. So maybe we can start working on that. How do we work on that? Anything that we do. Okay, we are not, some of us or most of us, I should say, are, if we are talking on this topic today, life begins at 60, I'm talking about senior citizen. Yes, we have been there and done it all. And today there is a lot of time in our hands and we can focus on our own well-being, focus on our own requirement. So why not organize ourselves? We can make a list of what we have to do. We can prioritize the items put on that list. We can see if we can delegate some of the items on the list. Most of us want to do everything ourselves. And then we get stretched both ways. So see if you're making your list, see if you can prioritize it, you can delegate that, some of it, and review that list again. Maybe something you feel are important may not really be important as you think. So reviewing that list again and again is also good. That way you'll be able to manage your time better. And it's perfectly all right. You don't need to be perfect all the time. Give yourself a little freedom. Give yourself a little concession on doing things differently or not doing things perfectly. Create a toolbox of techniques. I call it a creative box. Our right brain is creative. And when you do creative things, it actually uses all your five senses. When you're doing things with your hands, it occupies your five senses and you are totally involved in what you're doing. That also helps you to move away from the thoughts, the dominant thoughts that are worrying you and making you anxious, the thoughts that are pulling you back, some negative thoughts which you really want to shirk them away and you're unable to do that. So when you are in those kind of situations, try being creative, get into some creative activities. What are the kind of creative activities we can do? Gardening is something we can do during lockdown. So many of them started doing those little kitchen gardens, small pots, growing their own greens, leafy greens and hydroponics and so many different kind of things they were doing. So because that time shops were not open, we didn't have things to go out. Of course, now things have opened up, but there was a bad phase all of us went through. And that was the time it was affecting us, most of us, on our mental health. So get creative. Gardening is something I said you can do your sewing, knitting, painting, tidy your wardrobes, do something. Best of waste. You have a lot of waste. You can, if you are a creative person, you can create something. We used to do that for our children when they were in the school for their project. So why not do something now with, because the colors that you are going to deal with, that is also a therapy in its own. So being creative is very, very important and it keeps you occupied also. So don't forget to create a toolbox of techniques that you have. Pick off the negotiables from your plate. Certain things you want to do with your way, certain things can be done differently. So see, when you're making that list I told you about delegating, you don't necessarily have to do everything that you're looking at. You can just pass it on to someone else. And are you leaving yourself some extra time? That is also very important because you are otherwise going to be vulnerable to stress. Preserve your boundaries. When we were younger, we used to let people walk over us, let people take us for granted. But as I said, we all have one life to live. So why not live to the fullest? It's never too late. Quite a few of us have always been giving in to people around us and suppressing our own mind, our own interests at times. So why not look at it? There were times where we loved singing, we wanted to dance, but we didn't have the maybe resources, we didn't have an access to this kind of a situation and we didn't do that. So we can revisit that. And if you really nurture that hobby of yours, of singing, wanting to learn an instrument or wanting to learn a new language, you must try and do that. So see, make a list of the hobbies that you have been wanting. I think most of the people today have forgotten what they used to like because we got so engrossed with our work, our profession, our family, our children. And in all these years, we forgot what we used to love doing when we were teenagers or when we were in the college days and all that. So why not go back to that? Or just get into a new hobby. There are so many things that are around and you can learn things. You have access to online courses. Look at free courses also. There are many platforms which are coming up with, the basic courses. It could be some creative art. It could be your painting, your crochet, handicraft, learning new languages, and also digital skills you can learn online and improve yourself or enhance your skills that you have. I personally have been able to do a lot during the lockdown period. And why I'm saying free classes, because not always we want to pay the money and do it, because some of us, we think we have done it and we don't want to do anything more. Why? I don't see the need of that. But looking back, you need to be digitally skilled also, because everything today is like online. And right now I'm talking to you on virtual platform, and yes, I could connect to you people because maybe I have also been able to enhance. I still have a long way to go, but these things have come to me. Maybe 2 years back, I wasn't as tech savvy as I am today, but yes, I did learn quite a bit during this time. So there are a lot of free, there are a lot of groups and institutions which are giving free courses for people around, for students and for elders also. Realize there is a difference between worrying and caring. We have to care for everyone. We used to worry for our children when they were younger. When they used to go to work, they used to go to school, we worry for our husband and our grandchildren, everyone. But now, as we are growing older, we need to understand the difference. If we continue to worry, what is going to happen? You're going to get stressed. You're going to get anxious. Learn to care and worry less. Jo hona hai, wo to hoke rahega. So by our worrying, is the thing going to become better? It may not. So there's a very fine line between worrying and caring. Care you must, but try not to worry. We all make mistakes. Embracing mistakes and not living in the guilt. Don't keep blaming yourself for something that has happened in the past and sulk all in the coming years. That is one thing we all do. So we must, as we are growing older and we are wanting to have that mental peace, we need to understand that we should embrace mistakes, or at least don't drown in perfection. Fear, guilt, failure, anxiety, these are the things which we live with, and that affects our mental health. And then when it continues for a longer period, this is going to definitely affect our physical health. A lot of us may be experiencing joint pain, lower back problems, frozen shoulders, spondylitis. All this is coming. Where is it coming from? It's all related to our nervous system. Because as we, the guilt, the fear, the failure, it is all emotions. And when we are curbing those emotions, when we are stressing those, it is bringing the stress on the nerves. And when it is happening on a continuous basis, again and again, repeatedly, it's going to definitely affect our physical problems. We have to rush to the doctors, yes, when it is not in our hand. We must go and see the doctors for medication. But don't you think if you start understanding the root cause of where is it coming from and start working on that root cause, it's going to be much easier for us to manage our life better. Because as I said again earlier, I'm repeating again, that medications do bring a lot of side effects. We can have sleep disturbances, we can have loose motion, stomach related problems, constipations, all that are added discomfort to our physical health as we are growing older. Mental health, when we are talking about, the awareness that we have to be is about loneliness. We talk, yes. Now, what is loneliness? The state where we are being alone and feeling sad about the situation. During lockdown, I mentioned to you, our family, our children were away because of the total lockdown globally. Children couldn't fly here. Some people got stranded for months together, and we as as parents, excuse me, we as parents were I'm sorry. So we as parents got stuck at some places, and the neighbors used to help us. And there was a lot of loneliness that came into our life. But we have to accept that this was a phase that we went through. If we had to just sit and sulk that, okay, I am all by myself, I can't do, I'm so dependent on my children, my spouse, my husband, my neighbor, and I just get into that self-pity and kind of thing, my health would become worse day by day. So that was a time most of us felt that we need to take charge of our life, which we always say, but we never used to take charge. So accepting it, when I always talk about the 4 A's, if there is a situation in front of you, see if you can avoid it. If you can't avoid the situation, see if you can alter the situation. If you can't alter the situation, you need to accept the situation. And once you accept the situation, you learn to adapt to the situation. This is exactly what all of us did during the lockdown period. We all knew that this just came suddenly from nowhere, and we didn't know how long it's going to be with us. And then all these things crept in. And if we had to use this 4 A's, avoiding, altering, accepting, and adapting to it, things could be much better, and we could be in a much better situation to handle that. Now, when we talk about loneliness, there is also something called solitude. Now, there is a difference between solitude and loneliness. Solitude is something I want to do it willingly because I feel happy doing it. I want to be left by myself. I want to be alone. I want to spend 1 week by the seaside or lock myself in a room, and I want to finish my painting. I want to write a book. That is solitude. I want to get into introspection, vipassana ke liye jaate hain log and things like that. I'm happy to do what I'm doing. But loneliness is where I'm still alone, but I'm feeling sad about it. I get into that mode of nobody loves me anymore. I don't have people around me, and I'm feeling neglected and those kind of self-pity kind of a thing. So we don't want to get there. And it's without our knowledge, we all go through this phase sometime or the other, feeling lonely. But once you take charge of yourself, it's much easier because you know that you need to do something about it. Don't expect somebody else to come and help you with that. If you are not willing to work on yourself, it's going to be difficult. This also has an effect slowly. If you don't work on it, it also starts having effect on our degeneration, cognitive decline, memory losses, dementia, Alzheimer's. So much we are hearing about it in the coming years. In fact, people used to talk about it only at the age of 70s and 80s. Today, right from 50s onwards, we hear people saying that I'm forgetting my dates, my appointments. I'm forgetting the recent conversation we had, or there was some event, we did something like that, but I'm failing to recall what is happening. All this is because the kind of lifestyle we are living, the kind of stress we are going through. So losing your sense of direction, losing your ability to organize yourself is the effect of too much stress, too much of mental stress. We need to do something about it. And what is it that we can do? I talked about creative activity. We also have to see how we can work on ourselves. Everybody is not a social butterfly. And I'm not saying, or I'm not propagating that when I say connect socially, it means that you could, maybe you're not the person who will just walk up and talk to somebody. I know of people who are not that friendly. Unless you go and talk to that person, he or she will say hi, hello, exchange pleasantry, and that's about it. And they're happy with themselves. But these are the kind of people who have not had friends all their years during their professional life or they're growing up here. And now today they are at a stage when they really, really feel lonely, and they have just maybe a newspaper to read. Book reading is a good thing to do, because a book is a good friend also. But there are people who can just read newspapers and just sit by themselves, and that's their life after 60s and 70s. It's really sad. There are people who have said, okay, I have had a a bypass surgery, or I have had a stent done. So why did you do that? Why did you spend 10 and 15 lakhs for that? Because I didn't want to die, because I wanted to live. And to live for what? To read newspapers? No. Maybe look at it as a chance that you were given to live your life, to live your life to the fullest, to do something about it. Try and read something, try and meet up with people, try and look for some hobby, use your hands, go and help out with some NGOs. Those are the kinds of work which if you do will also make you feel good physically and mentally, and keep you away from any kind of mental stress that you are going through because of loneliness. We don't necessarily, and we don't have a choice at times. We can't always have to have our near and dear ones with us. We may have to live with the kind of state we are in, but then we have a choice to choose if we want to meet up with people, we want to do some work for the community, we want to connect socially with people, or even virtually connect we can do with people. Sessions like this, the event that we are doing just now, there are so many events that keep happening. So maybe you can just listen to one or two such events. That also will make you feel good. You learn something, you share your knowledge. Maybe for all you know, you also have a lot of experience. You come with a lot of experience and knowledge, and you would be somebody who can share your knowledge with some other people. It could be youngsters, it could be people of middle age, or it could also be people, senior citizen groups. So you can socialize virtually, you can read, you can do creative activities. Like I said, mandalas are a beautiful thing. In our college days, in our school days, what did we do when we were uninterested in the college lectures and school lectures? We used to just take a paper and pen and scribble on the paper. That was nothing but doodling. Okay, so you can just start taking up paper, pen, and do that. That itself it's a therapy again, they say. The mandala is a therapy, doodling is a therapy, because you just focus, it improves your attention span, it improves your memory, your concentration. So it's nice to do that. Puzzles, you can do gardening, sewing, handicrafts, best of ways. You can make small changes in your home, or you can tidy your wardrobes. You can do decluttering. That is another nice way of managing your time, and also de-stressing way when you're doing the decluttering part. So let me just sum it up when I'm trying to tell you how we can keep ourselves healthy mentally, which is going to result in our physical well-being also. So it's basically overall wellness. When we are talking, you need to make a list of what you want to do. How would you like your home to be, or how would you like yourself to be? Forget about what you were 50 years back or 60 years back. You can make a beginning today. Work on that list. When you make a list, pick up 2 things at a time. Maybe you can prioritize that this is what I want to do, be it your health. I need to go for a walk every day, because some form of exercise is important. Maybe I have, over the years, I have put on a lot of weight and it is affecting my health, and I have come up with diabetes, or that obesity or something like that, and I'm not fitting into my clothes anymore, so I'm feeling very depressed, and I don't like to socialize because of the way I look now. All these kinds of and similar kinds of things do crop up in our mind. So what can we do about it? When you make a list of how you would like yourself to be, or how would you like your home to be, and see Start prioritizing that, and then pick up 2 things at a time and focus on working on those 2 things. It could be your health, it could be doing up your house, one corner of your house, it could be decluttering. So anything like that, start working on that. Set your goals. Like, I'll do this in 1 week's time, I'll do this in 1 month's time, or by my next birthday, I want to fit into that dress of mine, which is a favorite dress. I have not worn it for about 10 years, but I don't want to give it away because I love that dress so much. So tell yourself, I'm going to fit into that dress 6 months from now, and work on that. And don't wait for perfection. Don't sit and analyze things. And when you're working towards achieving your goals, reward yourself for meeting them, or at least getting closer to your goals. This would motivate you definitely. So how do you deal with these situations? The 4 A's I said: avoid, alter, accept, So love yourself for who and what you are. You are responsible for the state that you are in today. When you're looking at the mirror, first thing in the morning, who are you looking at? It's you. Smile at yourself. Look into your eyes, smile at yourself, and take charge of your life. Better late than never. Get started now. Connect socially. Talk to your friends, talk to your siblings. Get into creative activities. 30 minutes of some form of physical activity. It could be, some of you may be going for a walk for an hour or so, it's okay. But when I say physical activity, it could be just some stretches, some extension and expansion of your limbs. So that is going to help you improve your blood circulation, expanding your lungs capacity. Your immunity is going to improve. So that's definitely going to help you in your overall health benefits. Yogic breathing, meditation, take baby steps. If you're someone who has never been doing exercises or yoga, you might want to get into a beginner's session, or even do it under guidance, small sessions. You don't have to be an expert. And at 40, 50, 60, 70, you're not expected to do something that a 25 or 45-year-old is doing. So it's okay. Just do something. Start with 10 or 15 minutes a day and slowly progress. And no need to go beyond 30 minutes. So 30 minutes of some physical form of exercise and 30 minutes of maybe breathing exercise and meditation together. 10 minutes or 15 minutes is good enough for you to get a good sound sleep, undisturbed sleep, which is going to keep you calm and get you that peace of mind. Do what you enjoy. Manage your diet as well, of course. Diet, I'm not talking about diet here, but it does have a great impact on your mental well-being. You are what you eat. So monitor and watch out what you're eating. Eat when you're hungry and drink when you're thirsty is what they say. So make sure you're not dehydrated. Stay hydrated all the time. Mental detox of limiting thoughts. When I talked about the self-talk, which should be positive, the thoughts that you're feeding in your mind, that should lead to feeling of peace and joy, and live in the here and now. This is what I want to convey to all of you, that what we do most of the time is we are always thinking about the past, which is over. We can't undo that. Or we are thinking about the future, which is not known to us, which is an illusion. And what happens? We are missing out on this wonderful present that we are in. So we must live in the present and here and now. And let's enjoy our life and this beautiful life, which begins at 60.
Awesome, Binda ma'am. That was such a wonderful, insightful, and eye-opening talk. Believe me, I never felt it was for people who are 60 plus. It was like you're talking for most of us who are not even touched 40 or 50 as of now. So I'm sure all our viewers who have heard us, who have listened out to us, had something to take away It was such a a Pandora box opening because एक चीज को पकड़ रहे तो लग रहा था नहीं ये भी important है इसको भी पकड़ो ये भी मैम बिल्कुल सही बोल रही है इसको भी पकड़ो. So I'm sure all of us who have been listening out to us have something to take away today and would definitely have that checklist up. They would be taking charge of their lives. Like one of our viewers, very correctly just mentioned on Facebook saying version 1 is better than version none. So all of the viewers listening to us, people who think they have nothing to do, they have lived the prime of their lives और अभी सिर्फ अखबार पढ़नी है जैसे मैम ने बोला सब कुछ करने के बाद अगर अखबार पढ़नी है तो वो नहीं करना है. So version 1 is definitely better than version none. Get up, take charge of your life. Thank you so much, Binda ma'am, for being a part of Laja family today. We are heartful grateful to you for giving us such an insightful talk. And wishing you all the very best in your life and future going forward.
Thank you so much and wishing all the best to TATVA Prayaha and looking forward to all the sessions, upcoming sessions. Thank you.
And all the viewers, all the beautiful souls listening out to us, don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 4 p.m. The time tomorrow is 4 p.m. where we are having another insightful talk over English speaking and communication by Piyush Bhatt. So we would all be seeing you tomorrow at 4 p.m. live right here on Facebook. And this is just the beginning, guys. We have a host of talks, workshops happening all through the week till we reach the final days, that the Tattvas that will be happening on this coming 28th and 29th. See you all here. Thank you everyone for joining in today. Have a wonderful evening and stay safe. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.